It's One Man Book Club.
Hey everyone, Dan here, the reading dad from One Man Book Club, where we're all about empowering readers, building community, spreading the joy of reading. Welcome to my channel. When we're done here, don't forget to go check out my original collection of the coolest book nerd t-shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts over at onemanbookclubshop.com. I get so many compliments on my shirts when I wear them. Go check them out. They're super cool, super fun, super nerdy. Okay, today we're going to deep dive into a topic that I don't normally talk about, what not to read. Now, I have a system of picking books that I will like that actually works pretty well. But over the years, there's been a few that's gotten through the cracks. I want to talk about these 5 books specifically today that are concerning because they're marketed to children and teenagers. It is so hard for parents to navigate books. There's no ratings. And I'm pretty flexible with the books I share with my kids. And I believe in most cases, challenging content is okay for kids. One, because the pictures books paint in your mind are limited to the experiences that you've had. These aren't pictures like in TV or movies, so the imagination of the readers are limited to the experience of the readers. 2, letting your kids read challenging things is a growing opportunity, and it's a chance for you to have an excuse to talk to your child and have some of those more challenging parenting conversations. As a dad of 6, 3 boys, 3 girls, from a college grad all the way down to a 3rd grader, I've had experience navigating all these things. And I'm simply sharing what I've learned from my experience to hopefully make the road a bit smoother for you than it was for me. Now, these 5 books I found to be especially challenging and not even worth your child's time. This isn't about censorship. It's not about banning books. It's just about helping parents and discerning readers make educated and intentional decisions about the media their children consume. I might suggest some of these books move from the teen section of the library to the adult section of the library, but I will never suggest they be removed from the library. Sound good? Fair? Okay, so then let's dive in with number 5, A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Now, my 10-year-old checked out book 1, The Bad Beginning, from his school library because there was a series on Netflix and it looked like fun. He got up to chapter 5 of the book and he gave up. There's nothing fun about the book. In his words, it was so sad it made me want to cry. Now, naturally, I had to give it a go too. Isn't this a series that people love? So I read it. Book 1. Guess what? It made me want to cry too. Can anyone explain why this series is so popular? This is about perfectly happy and kind children. They have their parents die. They receive no love, no support, no kindness. They're forced to live in the care of the creepy Count Olaf, an abusive, distant relative who beats them, treats them like slaves. He threatens the 12-year-old and the 14-year-old by putting their baby sister in a cage and tells them he'll throw her off a tower if the 14-year-old girl doesn't agree to marry him so he can gain access to the fortune their parents left for them. He even talks about taking the 14-year-old girl home on their wedding night. It's gross, and it's sad. So I get that in the next book, Olaf shows up again, only this time disguised as some other obscure relative. I can only imagine how each of the 13 books in the series stick to a similar formula. Is there a happy ending at the end of book 13? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not interested. Okay, that's book 5. Number 4, The Divergent series by Veronica Roth. This is Divergent, and I have 3 things to say about the Divergent series. 1, it's a lot of fun for the first 2 3/4 books. 2, the last 1/4 of the last book stunk so bad, and it ruined the entire story. And 3, the love story is cheesy, and it gives 11 to 15-year-old girls reading the series a really skewed and inappropriate idea of what first love is like. Now, I always say that a book or a book series, which is really just one long book broken into parts, is only as good as the ending. What you're left with when you close the cover on the end means more than all of the stuff that came before. And as fun as the story of Tris, Tobias, and friends was, it means nothing when the ending makes me wish I hadn't read it at all. And you know what the kicker is? I even knew it was coming. I never read spoilers. Never, but this one time I did. I always wait to start a series until the last book is written. I hate cliffhangers. I hate waiting years for them to get resolved. Now, I knew Divergent had a ton of fans, and I was just waiting for the final book to come out before I started reading it. But when it did, that last book, the reviews came in, and the reviews were horrible. So I decided to investigate because I didn't want to read something I was going to hate. And when I realized what even the most passionate fans hated, I decided I wouldn't even start. But of course, then one day Amazon put them on a Kindle Daily deal, and I couldn't resist, so I picked them up and I read them. I wish I hadn't, but I did. My other gripe is a little bit harder for me to put in words. I read books both for me and my kids, and I want them to love getting lost in a story as much as I do. I know firsthand how powerful words can be, especially how words in books can shape perspective, understanding, expectation of things that someone has never experienced for themselves. If you've never been to Alaska, read The Snow Child, and you'll feel like you grew up there. Want to know what it's like living in small-town Mississippi? Go read a John Grisham novel. Want to know how it felt to experience the 9/11 terrorist attacks in Manhattan? Read Peace in Amber, and you'll think you were there. It's been 17 years, but still, to this day, I think I know what it's like to be an 11-year-old girl because I read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret when I was 11. So do I want my 12-year-old daughter to learn what first love is like by reading about Tris, who's a 16-year-old and has never even held a boy's hand yet can navigate romance with the skill of a seasoned adult? And Tobias, who is 18, has never had a girlfriend and has superhuman control over his hormones? No, no, no. Their relationship is not real. It is too fast and it is too mature. All three of these books are full of examples of what I'm talking about. Descriptions of being swept away by amazing kisses or everything wrong in the world becoming just right when his little finger finds the skin just below the hem of her shirt. I'm sad for the kids who read about Tris climbing into bed with Tobias wearing only t-shirt and underwear, wrapping her legs around him under the covers, making out with passion and feeling, rubbing hands on hips and up and down bare backs, and then stopping to chastely fall asleep together, Tobias protecting Tris from her bad dreams. So romantical, so ideal, so not real. Someone who has experienced love can filter the fantasy from the reality, but children who have Tris and Tobias to thank for their first experience with love are going to be disappointed when one day their expectations fail to meet their reality. So, as much as my daughters and sons may want to read Divergent, I'm going to insist that they wait. In fact, I'm probably going to suggest that they just skip the whole Divergent series altogether. It's that bad. The ending, I mean. Anyway, okay. Number 3. The 68 Rooms by Marianne Malone. Now, our school district does this great thing each year called One District, One Book. The idea is that the school district will give each family a copy of the same district-selected book and have all the parents read it out loud to their kids. And normally, it's so much fun. Except for a few years ago, they picked the 68 Rooms. It's about kids who find a key that shrinks them down to 5 inches tall, and they get to explore the real-life thorn rooms. The realistic miniature rooms, they're real. The real-life miniature rooms, like picture fancy dollhouse rooms at the Chicago Art Institute. Anyway, I guess the 68 Rooms could have been a fun story, but it's like the author has some personal mission to educate 8-year-olds on the glories of life as an artist. There are long breaks in the story where the characters wouldn't be doing anything, but I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about what they were doing, and I don't even know what they did the whole book. All I know is they did nothing to advance the plot of the story, and it drove me crazy. Plus, here's the kicker. Ruth and Jackie, the 11-year-old main characters, are terrible liars. They lie to their parents multiple times. One biggie, they each told their parents they were spending the night at each other's houses, when in reality, they spent the night at the museum. Their parents almost found out about their deception a few times, and the kids had to tell more lies to keep them from discovering the truth. They get away with their lies, they never face consequences of their lies, and instead they get to have these magical adventures. Yay! There were multiple times I had to pause the story when I was reading it and remind my kids that these kind of lies are not okay. And also, I'm all for 11-year-old girls and boys being best friends with each other. That's totally cool, but spending the night at each other's houses? I don't know, that's kind of weird. The book is 100% innocent, but seriously? My kids didn't like it. I didn't like it. The only thing the kids liked was that I was reading it to them. So, read to your kids, but probably don't read this book. Here's one more thing. Mrs. Malone, the author, she actually came to visit my kids' school today. And the daughter of a friend who had been discussing this book actually raised her hand and asked the author, why did the kids lie in the story? Instead of using the opportunity to teach the kids, guess what the author said? She told the kids that the lies did not hurt anyone and that the kids told the lies because staying at the museum was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How disappointing. So skip this one. All right, here's number 2. The Rains by Greg Horowitz. Oh, I've got shivers thinking about this one. Now, when the middle school literacy teacher recommends a book sold in the book fair to your kids, you're safe, right? Nope. We learned that the hard way at my house. I always buddy read with my kids if they read a book that I don't know. So when my 6th grader brought home The Rains, because his literacy teacher recommended it as something he'd enjoy, I got myself a copy and jumped in. And then I jumped right back out. The Rains is a zombie book. Now, zombie books and I don't typically get along, but occasionally one comes along that I actually enjoy, like The Girl with All the Gifts, for example. I figured that a middle grade zombie story, I don't know, maybe it's a cool thing. Wrong. It wasn't a cool thing. Let me set the scene. Aliens are attacking the Earth by sending asteroids crashing down. These asteroids carry seeds of spore-producing plants that turn anyone over 17 into alien zombie slaves. Their mission? Capture all the children. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I've read and enjoyed some violent books. But this is violence committed by and against children. And to me, that puts it on a whole nother level. Want some examples? Sure, why not? This book includes parents and school teachers committing violence against children. For example, one scene includes a mother who captures her child as a zombie. She's a zombie, her child's not. She tears bloody patches of hair from her own head and uses the hair as a rope to tie her child up. The children are collected and kept in dog crates. They're transported on trucks like chickens in cages, and when they go around a cliffside curve with some of the crates fall off the top of the truck, and the children trapped inside the crates are screaming in terror all the way to the bottom, and this is described in the book. Upon reaching the destination, the terrified and screaming children are strapped to a conveyor belt, so the evil alien queen can one by one stab a needle into their abdomen to implant babies into their bellies, which grow, causing the children's abdomens to expand until they explode open. Literally, screaming, desperate tears. Sounds like thump and squelch are describing this violence. Children kill their own parents, school teachers, and friends in a variety of gruesome ways, including stabbing them through the skulls with hay baling hooks, blowing their heads off with a shotgun pressed against their foreheads, impaling them through the eyes with fireplace tongs, shooting them in backs of their heads with a cattle prod, attacking them with a large pack of frenzied dogs, and many, many more. Each of these violent acts include detailed descriptions of the acts and the resulting blood splattering or pooling, bones crunching, and sinew tearing. The children exposed to this extreme violence show little remorse. They're able to observe and commit extreme violence without suffering trauma. This is an adult author exposing children to adult themes and adult violence they are not prepared to experience. It's published by Tor Teen, so shame on the publisher as well. Not to mention the story is stupid. Deus Ex Machina is the first choice of conflict resolution. Plot holes abound. Many other problems I don't care to waste any more time explaining to you. This is one where my child's middle school literacy teacher got an email from me. There are too many great books out there. Don't let your kids read this one. All right, ready for number 1, the granddaddy of them all? Here it is, The Throne of Glass. Is the whole series by Sarah J. Maas. Now, this series was the ultimate bait and switch because book 1 started with this really great story centered around an awesome teenage assassin who discovers she's really a long-lost princess with killer magical abilities, turning her into an awesome teenage magical princess assassin who has to accept who she is and take control of her lost kingdom to rid the world of their bad guys and save all the good guys. That was cool. this fun PG-rated story begin with book 1 right here, The Throne of Glass, and there's even some awesome prequels. They were clean enough and exciting enough that I recommended them. I recommended to my own kids, I recommended to my friends and their kids. More books were published, and the story got a little edgier, and it got a little more violent, and some bad language crept in. The love interest got a little more mature, and by book 4 in the series, it was easily PG-13, which, okay, that's fine. Book 5, I expected that the trend would continue, and I was right. I just didn't know how right, because it went from PG-13 in book 4, skipped over R, and went straight to literary pornography. I was shocked. I'd recommended this series to so many kids and people, and it's published by Bloomsbury Teen. But book 5, that fun story had turned into these 8 different characters describing their smoldering, angsty, unwarranted, forced, unnecessary, obsessive, Bella and Edwardish, unsuppressible physical attractions to each other. Ugh, barf. Clearly, I was no longer the targeted demographic for this series. So the first 50% of book 5 meanders along with the characters lusting after each other, occasionally showing glimpses of what used to make this story cool. And then right at 50%, okay, this happened. Bear with me. I'm going to read this part to you. 51% book 5. She popped the third and final button free, and he let go of her to toss his pants into the sand nearby, taking his undershorts with them. Her mouth went dry as she took in the sight of him. Rowan had been bred and honed for battle, and every inch of him was pure-blooded warrior. Ew, barf. That's not what I want to read. I was warned about what was coming next, but I thought it couldn't be bad. It was worse. It was much worse. I put that one down at 51%. I never finished it. Now, luckily in the years since I read the first 4.5 books of Throne of Glass, the books are no longer published by Bloomsbury's Teen Imprint, so good. And the last time I was in my local library, I saw that books 1 through 4 were shelved in the teen section, not 5 through whatever it goes up to now. But I still occasionally see young girls reading book 1 and thinking to myself, are they really going to stop at book 4? Will they have their parents to talk about the things that they read? I hope so, but I kind of doubt it. So, anyway, there you have it. 5 examples of books I believe parents should be cautious about. These books all have different issues, but they share common themes like graphic violence, inappropriate sexual relationships, sexual content, negative role models, and emotionally disturbing themes. Remember, the goal isn't to shelter kids from everything, but to guide them towards age-appropriate and enriching reading experiences. So talk to your kids about what they're reading. Preview books when you can. And most importantly, let's work together to build a community of empowered readers. Don't forget to check out my other book reviews and curated list over at One Man Book Club. Subscribe to my channel here for more bookish content. And if you want to support One Man Book Club, please do head over to my shop for some fun-themed book merchandise, or use my links to buy things on Amazon so I'll get a small commission. Anyway, happy reading, everyone. Happy reading of the right books. See you next time.
Like and subscribe, and check out onemanbookclub.com.